Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is MrNJersey and this is your best place to find all your Stormworks related content, from weekly updates to build series to the best workshop creations and much more. Now in this video we're back with the 7th episode of the LUA Build Series. We're going to be looking at how you can add any scrolling text to your screens here in Stormworks. Now this is really cool and important for train stations and also for trains and any other type of creations where you want scrolling text on your LUA screens. But before we get started, if you're enjoying these videos, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to click the little bell icon to be notified of my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. And while you're watching, let me know your thoughts in the comments below and what else you would like to see in any of my future videos. So let's get straight into it and get started with this video. So starting off, we're back here at the creative base. Now I've already got my little examples that we've got built up in the last couple episodes, but in this video we're going to be looking at how we can get some scrolling text on screen. Now it's relatively simple actually how you can do it, and it's really nice to have it in your train stations or even on board your trains as passenger information. Now it doesn't only have to be used for trains, but it could be used for a numerical amount of different things, and it's quite easy to set up. You can see it's just a 1x1 block and it's scrolling across the screen. So we're going to go and create it. So we're going to bring this back into the workbench, and I'm just going to go and delete my Lua block that I've already created. And you can see here we have the 2x2 screen and there's nothing else. We don't have anything else connected to this. The only thing I do have connected is a simple power switch that's turning it on, and I also have some electricity because we're here in advanced mode. So we're going to go and create the actual microcontroller itself now. To do that, we're going to go into the microcontroller editor. I'm going to create a brand new microcontroller and I'm going to go into the properties. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create only a 1x1 block. I don't need anything else. Obviously, if you want to add more features to this, you could. Let's call it something. So let's call it SR text. Okay, so I know exactly what it is. And then I can go into our logic. The only logic I know I'll need is a video output. That's going to go to my monitor where it's going to be showing the scrolling text. Once we're happy with this, we can go into our logic and we can start building this. Now you can see we have our output of the video, and we're going to need a Lua to actually go and write stuff onto it. So we're going to go place that down and we're going to get it connected up. Once we're in there, we can go into our Lua script, and the first thing I want to do is I actually want to write my text and make sure that works. You can leave everything as it is right here, except the last part. We want to get rid of the circle. Okay, so once we get rid of the circle here, we can go and get rid of it. The next thing we want to do is we want to go and actually write some text. So you can see here I've got screen, draw text box, X, Y, W, H, etc. Copy and paste that. We're going to paste it down here. Now one thing I did delete while I was talking is that I got rid of the end, so I'm just going to put it back. With text box, so where do you want to actually put it? X and Y. Well, I want to put it in the top left, so I'm going to go 1x1. The next thing is what's going to be the width. This is up to you on what you want it to do. I know that my screen width is 64 because it's a 2x2 screen. So I actually want it to be, I'm going to do 120 for my width. Okay, and this will make a little more sense later on. What's the height of the text? Well, the height is going to be 6, which is going to make sure it's going to fit my text in. The next thing is what is the text that we want. So we can go and put our exclamation or quotation marks there. And I'm going to do next stop. And we're going to write, let's do NJ terminal 1. Okay, so that's going to be the text. Now I know that's definitely not going to fit on my screen, but that's why I wanted to scroll across the screen. Okay. The next thing is we need our heart line and our vertical line. Sorry, our horizontal line and our vertical line. Okay, so horizontal, I want it to be on the far left hand side. Okay, so I'm going to do -1, and with our vertical line, I'm just going to do 0 because I'm happy with it in the center of the screen. The next thing, if you want it to be green text, you can leave it as is. If you want it to be a different color, you can change it. I'm just going to go and change it to 100 by 100 by 100. That way I'm going to get quite a nice white text across my screen. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to press on done, and I'm going to save this because I want to test it to make sure that my actual text is coming on the screen before I start making it scroll and so on and so forth. So we can go out, we can go and search for the SR text. So let's do SR text. There we go. We found it. You can see there. We're going to go and simply just put it down. We're going to connect the video. So let's go to our video. Let's get that connected. And let's spawn it in. We should have some text on the screen. There we go. So you can see next stop, and then it carries on going across where we can't see it anymore. Okay, so that's perfect. The next thing I want to do is actually wanted to make it scroll across the screen. So it's actually relatively simple. We can simply go into our text, into our microcontroller, and you can see we have our actual 2 blocks that we've been working with at the moment. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use a simple up and down. That's going to tell it where to actually move the text. So once we have the up down, we can go and connect that up to our Lua, but we can't because obviously it doesn't take a number input. So we need to convert that into composite. And to do that, we can simply just go and get a composite right number, paste that down, push it across. So it's going in, up, down, going in there. It's going over from composite into our Lua script. We can then go into our Lua script and then tell it that, okay, that number 1 is going to be value. So get number 1 is going to be value. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and take our actual position, which is the X, and we're going to minus it by that value. Okay, so minusing that value. So we'll actually move it across. Once we've done that, we can set up some specifications for our up down counter. Increments, I'm going to do an increment of 0.5 because that's the speed I want. Reset value is 0. I'm going to clamp it, and I'm going to tell you the maximum is 200. Remember earlier when I went into my Lua script and I told it that we had our actual our width of 120. I want that to be the same on here. So I want it to be a 120 width. Okay, that's the number it's going to go up to. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we obviously need to set it to go up, to move it across the screen, and also we want to reset it at different points. And that's where we can use some threshold gates. So we're going to get 2 threshold gates. We're going to check to see if this number is going to be at full, which is 120. So once it reaches its endpoint, I want it to go and reset back to 0. And I also want to start it somehow. And that's where we're going to be using an SR latch. We're going to put the SR latch just over here. And we're going to tell it that when we start everything up, so when the screen turns on, it's going to actually start this process. And it's going to output onto this to make it go up. So it's going to continue going up and up and up. When it then reaches its final value, it's going to come down, it's going to reset it, and at the same time, it's going to reset this SR latch. But of course, we want it to start somehow. And that's where we can use the second threshold gate. We're going to measure this, and we're going to say when you are at 0 and 0, so when it's been reset, we want you to go into a capacitor to hold for a bit. So we want it to hold on the screen for a little bit. We're going to tell it to hold on the screen for, let's say, 2 seconds. We're then going to output at 0.1 seconds, and it's going to go and set the SR latch. And that way it's going to create a looping cycle here. Now we can test that by going and update, clicking on confirm, clicking on spawn, go to our screen. We can see just over here, it's now scrolling to the left-hand side. Terminal 1 stops. It stops here for a few seconds, then it carries on scrolling across, goes here, stops for a few seconds, and continues. Now that's pretty much it. If you wanted to speed it up or decrease the speed, you could simply by going into the up down counter and changing our increments. So I could change this to increment 2 so that it goes 2 pixels every second. So you'll see there, if I go across there, have a look how quick it's going. 2 pixels every second. I can slow that down even more if I want to. So go back into the SR text microcontroller and I can say 0.2 for example. We go in and you'll see now it's going to really slowly scroll across the screen. Now, you could use this on any size screen if you wanted to. Just remember that I usually recommend when you're going into here and you're doing your up and down, here it's at least double the size of the screen. The same goes when you're in your Lua and you're setting up your actual width of your text, double the size of the screen. So I had a 64 size screen, I made it 120. That way we know that it's going to clear this text before it actually goes and resets it. So it's going to go all the way to the next side and then it's only going to reset it. So yeah, very simple, very easy little one to get scrolling text. Now you could, if you wanted to, even get this onto a second screen here and make it scroll across the 2 screens. But that's not going to be in this video. I thought you could show you guys how to do scrolling text on a simple 2x2 screen. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and what else you would like to see in the next episode of the LUA Build series. But I hope you enjoyed the video and found it entertaining and informative as always, and we'll see you in the next one.